Hey guys, welcome back. It's been a little while. So for today, we've got a 1996 Kawasaki KX100 that we picked up a little while back. Finally getting around to getting to it. Anyways, I think the idea here is we're going to try to restore it to where it's somewhat original. We're going to do what you call a stock mod, to where we'll have some parts that are original and some parts that are like a super stock. So we might do some Cerakote or some Vapor Blast. Just kind of spruce it up a little bit. Let's kind of assess what we got. I got some fresh gloves on because this one's pretty dirty. So come on closer, we'll check out what we got here. Let's kind of start down here at the engine. So let's pull these out. Get these out of the way. Oh, nice. So, looks like we got a shifter that's pretty jacked up. That's a nice one. The splines. Oh my God, look at that. Looks like there's a chunk out of those. Okay. Let's set that to the side for now. Looks like we got a broken cover here. We'll have to replace that, I believe. Missing bolt out of here. I'm sure we'll find plenty of missing hardware throughout this. Take a look at the sprockets here. That one's pretty grooved. It's pretty worn out. Chain's really loose. I mean, the rollers are completely gone here. Up here, actually, it's not bad. Probably still do something with that. Look back here in the back. Looks like we've got a bent adjuster back here. Kind of zoom in on that. We'll have to do something with that. Here's just loose stuff off of the bike that wasn't installed. That's definitely the correct hardware there. Let's see. Surprisingly, the filter doesn't look that bad. You notice there's a big crack in the side of the tank. We're going to have to replace that. Let's see. Oh, the airbox too. Yeah, get a good shot of that. That's all blown out back there. They use like a riveted insert on those. We'll have to do something with that. Come up towards the bottom down there. Let's see what we got down here. Shifter, I'm sorry, the kicker, pretty worn out. It's barely on there. Come right off. There's no bolt holding it. So and then we're missing a fill plug here. We got a busted radiator hose clamp here. Some other miscellaneous things I saw real quick. This case looks like it got JB welded. If you look underneath it, you can see all the JB over the bolt holes. Looks like maybe they snapped off or misplaced some bolts, so they just decided to JB that. Looks like there's a big patch back here. So once we pop the engine out, we'll kind of take a closer look at that. We come back up top here. Some loose plastics, no fastening hardware. Probably going to need another throttle tube, obviously grips. Brake lever, it's all taped up and bent. Looking at the front of the bike. Random hardware in here. Broken guides here and here. And again, bad lever there. Take a look down here at the brakes. I don't know if you can tell on the video or not, but the rotor is actually pretty thin. How's the brake pads look? I can't see those. You can see the tire has got a bunch of dry cracking on it, so obviously we'll replace that. And then, obviously we're missing the fuel cap up here too. Yeah, the exhaust springs are gone too. Yeah, I noticed that. So it's missing a lot. We'll kind of assess it more once we kind of start taking everything apart and kind of see what we got. But did you see up here it's missing the cap too. And then crossbar is gone, which we'll probably replace these bars anyways, but we got a good starter here, I think. So once we get it torn down, we'll kind of assess it more and see what we need to do with that. Okay, so before we get too involved here, let's go ahead and see if this thing's got some spark. It looks like I can see spark there. Let me kind of zoom in. Yeah, you can see it. Go ahead. There you go. Okay, good. We have spark. Perfect. All right, so here we've got everything completely disassembled. We're going to go ahead and go through and start assessing everything and kind of see what we need to buy and what we don't need to buy. I'll just have you zoom in on some of this stuff to show. So we're probably going to get some new bearings for this. I think pretty much all the bearings are going to need to be replaced, to be honest. Same deal with like all the braking stuff. We're probably just going to go ahead and buy kits for all of these because I'm sure they're pretty crusty by the time we take that apart. Let's see. Oh yeah, check out the frame. we notice we got a snapped off fastener. It's over on this side. So we're going to have to deal with this at some point. Then as far as all the plastics go, we're probably going to replace a majority of that stuff. The gas tank, we're going to have to find another one because there's no way we can reuse that. I know the purple's kind of hard to find for these older models, so we might be able to save the shroud. We'll kind of see about doing that if we can't find anything. But I think the first priority is going to be to go ahead and get everything masked off, so we'll plug all this off and tape it off, and then we'll go ahead and power wash everything so we can start breaking stuff apart into different sub-assemblies so we can start getting everything all cleaned up, start getting it prepared for reassembly. So let's go ahead and start dragging some of this stuff outside, and we'll go ahead and start power washing all of this. Oh yeah, here's a closer look at that case though. It looks like somebody was a JB Pro. Is that a snapped off bolt there? Oh wow. So that's actually the drain there. Okay. The shift shaft we already saw, it's got a huge notch out of that. Okay. That looks like that's the original drain bolt to me. Alright, so unless you want to show anything else, we can go ahead and start dragging all this out and we'll go ahead and get it power washed, get it cleaned up. Okay, so we got everything power washed, all the big stuff we got laid out here. We got it all soaped down, scrubbed down, and good to go. The engine's leaking oil. So the rest of the small parts we've got up here. What we're going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and start scrubbing all these small parts in our hot wash tank here. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll check back in with you. There you go. We're back. So we got everything cleaned up in the big wash tank. To kind of take it a step further, what I like to do is go ahead and take some of these smaller parts and throw them in the ultrasonic cleaner. That way it will save us a little bit more time from scrubbing them so much. And it'll kind of get it ready more for when we go to do any kind of Cerakote vapor blast. And then in this case, we're also going to do some zinc plating. We'll get all of this loaded up, and then I'll go through and I'll decide which fasteners are not any good and which are good. And we'll just go from that point. So if you come on in here, I'll kind of show you what kind of settings we got to run on this. To start off, we just got a simple mixture in here of Simple Green and some Dawn dish soap. And then this particular one, it's got heater on it, so we can set the temperature range. We're going to just set it at the highest setting. I've already ran this a cycle on the degas mode to get rid of any impurities in the solution. So the next step is going to be for me to start loading everything in the basket, get it loaded in here, and we'll start getting some parts cleaned better. Okay. Now, heat's at max. We're going to go to normal. Let's go to about 15 minutes. 15-20 minutes. I'll check on it here in just a little bit. So should be able to press normal and it should start. There you go. Ultrasonic just went off. Let's go ahead and turn the power off. And just to be sure, I'll unplug it. Okay. Come in and get a shot of that. The water looks pretty nasty, so it must have cleaned something. Our first batch of parts we've already got down here. I already pulled those out. All the stuff in here, it's just a lot of fastener stuff, so let's pull these out and see how it did. I'm not expecting anything to look perfect. It's just not going to. But that's okay. That solution is really hot, too. So overall, it looks like it did a pretty good job. I don't see anything too nasty. A lot of this stuff is super greasy. Ooh, sucker's hot. So I think the next thing we're going to do now is we'll go through all these fasteners. We'll figure out what's OEM and what's not. We're going to do that off camera because it's just going to be too much of a mess to do on camera. Anyways, we'll go through, we'll figure out what fasteners are what, and then figure out if we want to replace some fasteners. Some stuff I know we're going to have to replace, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So the next thing that we're going to be doing in the next video is we're going to start opening up the engine and see what all problems are with that. And we'll kind of get a game plan of what we want to do with that. So stay tuned for that.